Hi, I'm going to talk a bit about Foresight, a relatively recent Linux distribution, and what w the issues I think we are adding value to the overall Linux distributions landscape. From the user's perspective, the added value of a Linux distribution is to make an easy way for the end users to use the applications they care. The distribution layer by itself has no value. The value of distribution layer is the value of the applications that are made available by it. We call ourselves, or at least we like to think we are, a next generation Linux distribution. What makes us unique is that we broke with the past in the sense that we are not using a traditional package manager. We are not based either in APT or RPM or something based in same philosophies. We are using Canary. Canary is some sort of revolutionary. I'm not going to talk about it. It has lots of cool features. I'm going to talk a bit about what it allows, not how it works. If you really want to know how it works, after lunch, Michael Johnson will give a talk about it. It's much better than me. But Canary has some nice features. And one of the nice features Canary has allows us to claim we are the only binary-based rolling distro. It's easy to make a rolling distro if you are using source-based package management. Gentoo, Arch Linux, the BSDs, it's trivial. When we try to do that in a binary distribution, we very quickly hit major roadblocks. Then, foresight is about taste. We don't try to teach the user what is wrong, what is bad. We provide same defaults and same choices, but we always left final choice to the user. We don't block access to the user for certain kind of applications if we legally can provide them. We give a way for the user to choose. It's up to them, and it's up to us to assure that all applications run okay, run well, side by side, and don't overlap. One of the major impacts traditional package management has to end users is that it creates a big gap between application authors and users. Basically, when someone do a major release of some application, it doesn't get all quickly enough to end user, because sometimes it was released in the middle of the release cycle of some big distro, so it can't be put there. Then we have situations when the application authors are developing the next version but are making point releases backward compatible with older releases. There are too much wasted time. The other main issue we have is that basically we have major and minor distribution releases, not for philosophical reasons, but for practical implementations. It is very hard in a traditional distribution layered with traditional package managers to change something really deep in stack, because it will affect so many things that simplistically it's not realistic to try to change. And when one really needs to change, what happens? And one needs to cheat. One needs to cheat glibc symbols. When one needs to cheat all kinds of stuff for the distribution things that is using an older version when in fact is using bits of a newer one. That's also one of the reasons why in some distributions there are so many people working in new stuff as they have people backporting stuff to older versions, because package management doesn't allow the process to be streamlined. So our goal is to bring applications in a stable faster for end users, for them to provide faster feedback. Also, there is a philosophical issue here. I don't think that the role in the long term of a distribution is to sit between a user and an application. The role of a distribution is to sit behind the application. For the end user, what really matters is the application. So the distribution should be as much invisible as possible. Right now, we are shipping Foresight 1, which was a traditional GNOME desktop, was 32 bits only, works, is stable, and we have a nice user base. What will come next is much more ambitious. We will ship not only a GNOME edition, we will ship a KDE edition, and we will ship XFCE edition. Also, we will ship in 32 and 64 bits, and we are trying to achieve full feature parity. Also, we have some simple but worthy goals. We want to make sure that any GNOME application will run well in KDE and vice versa. Also, we are not following the roads of other distributions, whether they have slightly similar cores, but then they have fully divergent interfaces with Ubuntu, Kubuntu, GNOME Ubuntu, or whatever. Basically, if you are in GNOME and you want to swap to KDE, it's a simple matter of a single command, and you go from GNOME to KDE, and vice versa. You don't like, well, Canary is powerful. You simply do Canary rollback, it goes back to the software you had previously installed. It will work. Also, what we would like Foresight to become was some sort of Switzerland of distributions. Not in the sense that we want to dominate the world, but in the sense that we provide common ground for application authors to come back faster for end users. We already used as the backend of the GNOME Developers Kit. It was not because of love of Canary or for love of us. It was because our framework was the only that realistically allowed daily go to the GNOME SVN server, fetches the sources, build them, and consistently getting the updates daily for people on documentation team, for people actually on patch squad and so on, and getting what got fixed and what didn't get fixed. We open near future to extend this service we provide community, also to KDE community and to the XR community. Basically having an appliance-like reference design, and people can sit on top of it and see what works and not works. Then if people want to render it their way, they can way. If they want to make it the underlying environment of some kind of specific application, they can do it. I don't know 10 years from now if Foresight will still be available. I also don't know if Canary will be available. One thing I'm sure, this model that puts the application in the center of landscape, this model that says, it's not distribution that says which applications can run, but this is the fact that I provide an application and the underlying package manager this. In order for you to run this application, you need this kind of packages. And ultimately, technology allows you to build an image with just what is enough to run that application, that desktop application. You can think in terms of single applications, or you can think in terms of families of applications for specific uses. So the other interesting point about Canary and about Foresight is that independently about how big or how much we like ourselves, realize that we are not center of the world. Biggest problem we have with traditional package management philosophies is that they are centralized. Of course, any distribution can make to work if there is a centralized pyramidal development work in where there is one person who defines everything. So if you do it in a perfectly self-contained sandbox, of course things they have a good chance of work. But this is about distributed development. This is about distributed package management. We don't want to have whole repositories. We simply have the guidelines, we simply have the framework. If someone wants to package anything and follows our rules, it doesn't even need to talk with us. Conari, the underlying package management, will do everything. What needs to be updated from us will be updated from us. What needs to be updated from them needs to be updated from them. In that sense, we are fully distributed. I'm not going to talk about too much about Conari, but I just will say that Conari is not a simple package manager. It's also bits of source control management. So think Git, think Mercurial. Now apply this to distribution. If I suppose that some of you have experience developing software and packaging, you know the pain. So I won't waste most more of your time. I will just say that if you have 10-15 minutes available, go to our website, grab one of the betas of Foresight 2. It takes 5 minutes to install, and we use Anaconda. Really, 5 minutes environmental to install, and give it a test drive. If you like it, stay with it. If you don't like it, well, try again soon. But I think that what you will find some challenging stuff we are doing. I think I have 3 minutes left. If someone has some question that would like to do. Anyone wants to do any question? Yeah. No. Basically, Foresight is Trojan horse. We need to ship something. So of course, we ship applications. And the way we ship those applications and technology we use, we call it the platform. It's called Foresight, which is built on top of a very small and scalable Linux, is RPL Linux from RPAT. It basically was made from appliances. So in some senses, Foresight is a desktop appliance. It can be run inside a virtual machine, can be run natively, we can run it on Sunrise, whatever you want, it will work. But Foresight doesn't have as a ultimate goal to preach about some specific philosophy, this will be this way, that way. We try to put the applications you expect to be there in the same way, in a standard way. We try to follow as much as we can upstream. We try to be best of breed. If OpenSUSE has a good Xorg stack, we go pick them. If someone from Red Hat is doing something we think is worthwhile, we go and pick them. The big difference is that, I just found that last night, there is no one at Red Hat that is actually running RAWEYE as his desktop. But you can guess most, if not all, of the interesting features that are in RAWEYE today in Foresight, and I assure you Foresight is stable. So sometimes we get people from Red Hat asking us, put it there, because we get more feedback. Because in fact we have users. So basically, from an application point of view, we reduce time to market. If you like to be on bleeding edge, you have two choices. Or you play Russian roulette and you go for an ultra unstable distribution, or compile yourself, or you go for foresight. That's no middle term. So that's the biggest difference. Otherwise, we try to be graphically, we are calm, we are not too fancy. What needs to be there is that we are discrete. We don't like to make noise to confuse the user. We just, our target is the user who doesn't care too much about Linux in the sense it's not religious. Is that someone who really wants something that works, doesn't care too much about what it is. So we like the appliance model. Okay, that's all.